in this next segment, I have the motor I just tore apart, which is up in front right here, where my little red Johnny Quest laser beam thing is. And then I have another motor that I've already bored out for the stroker, between here and here. Now I'm going to show you just how much you need to take off. We'll use a caliper right here with the insides from here to here. I'll kind of give you an idea. On our stock, so I can move this a little farther here. On our stock crankshaft half, we have about 75 millimeters in diameter. That is from this side all the way over to this side across the middle. Now if we take this and put it, I have to do this left-handed, it's a little hard to do it this way. Anyway, if we do it like this and we spread the calipers for the engine block that's already set for the stroker crank, that comes to approximately 78 millimeters in diameter from here to here. And what that means, if we split that in half, is that I have to remove an inch and a half, Jesus Christ, a millimeter and a half from this side and a millimeter and a half from this side. It's not really that much. Then of course, if you look right here, this is the rear of the cylinder, where the cylinder goes. This is the boost port galley, or you can see if the two halves were together, you can see this little tiny trench here. Now that trench leads up to the boost port. Okay. Now if you put on a bigger cylinder, you can kind of get a look here how much this trench or boost port canal has been carved out, so that you're going to get more gas coming up through the boost port rather than the little one on this side. And you can see the boost port, the stock boost port, right here on the big side of the stock case. And here's the boost port that's been carved out. Now notice the difference between the area between this stud and how much meat there is right there, and this stud and how much meat there is right there. You can tell there's a lot. Also, what has to be done is the cylinder will be a little bit larger here, but you have to remember that as the crankshaft weight is larger in circumference around, when it makes its circle down here, okay, it is going to boost the piston higher, and it's also going to suck the piston, not suck, it's going to bring it down lower. Now these cases aren't made for that. That's why, if you'll also notice, along the front end right here, if you look right here compared to right here, this area is taken out, because the piston is going to come down inside the cylinder skirt, and you don't want it to hit this, and you don't want it to hit this either, right here. And you can see that on how that's taken out. Now that's very important, because because you don't want to get the crank in there and put the piston in there and fire it up and the thing hits some aluminum and kills it. Now these are the bearings that we just took out. Right here. Right here are a set of dummy bearings. Now the only difference between these and these is I have taken a grinder and I have ground off 1/100 of a millimeter all the way around the outside. What this allows me to do, and I'll show you here. What this allows me to do is that when I drop these, I don't have to press fit these bearings into the case and take them out. They're guide bearings. They're guide bearings for the new stroker crank. What I can do is I can drop these in here and they'll drop in there like this. Anyway, you get the point. It's going to drop in there. It'll drop in there flush. Then what I do is I take the crankshaft along with the weight on the outside and I drop it right into here, and I know that this is going to be exactly where the crankshaft should be. Also, I fail to note that the insides of this bearing race right here have also been sanded out so that the crankshaft can go right in and right out. So while I'm using my little Dremel to excavate, I will take this and put it in and out along with the crank and check my clearances. Now you only have to take off 1.5 millimeters here and around here. It's actually, you want to make it's going to go like 3 millimeters wider. It's almost nothing, but you want to be careful because if you take off too much aluminum, it doesn't grow back, and that's the God's truth. That's why I always take a set of old bearings and I make dummies out of them. You can tell by the outsides. You can see they've been sanded down. Where the new bearing or the other bearings that I just took out are nice and smooth. So the inside races have been sanded and the outside. So they'll drop in like that, you see, and they will pull out. But I can do everything, put the cases together, and I can put the stroker crank inside the cases and constantly check to make sure my clearances are okay. Then when I put a piston on the stroker crank up here, I can move the crank around and make sure it's not hitting on anything. That way when I do press in the new bearings, that I'm only going to do it once, because you only want to do it once. You don't want to tear the thing apart. But if you take your time and you pay attention, you can do this. It's pretty easy. Okay, that's it for this section.